think the more you do it.
Why do you keep on trying to bother her? What?
Better watch that video you cut up from Leavenworth too.
Oh yeah, I thought I had downloaded doing the other part. With that, I mean, I still could.
Holy shit, the door just slammed. Are you and David? What was that?
Say that again.
I say yes.
Yeah, I heard yes. Or are you What is going on?
No saying?
Well, probably on the show, yeah, but
And we are live.
How's everybody doing?
Hi
it
everybody.
going?
How you doing?
hitting stuff over here. My bad.
Making loud noises.
What was that? I mean, did you hear that? Sorry, just my interpretation of a ghost show. All right.
Every ghost show.
Well, yeah, even our own.
And sad to say, everything we do.
I know. Yep, it's quite comical. All right, this is Cryptic Heartland podcast, episode number 69. I know this is the podcast some of us have been waiting for, but
Sorry, Jay.
Let the
Kidding,
jokes
Jay.
roll in.
Roth, they're missing out.
Yeah. They get no 69 out of it.
That's their own loss. So. All right.
Oh my god.
But
It is what it is,
Yep.
right?
once again, this is the podcast where no topics left off the table. We're not afraid to poke the bear, whatever you want to say. Yeah, we're not afraid at all.
We're not afraid
We'll
to piss people off. And
Yeah, that's what we do this for the people at home and for our own amusement too. So,
if you have any questions, if you have any comments, feel free to actually call or type in or anything like that. Don't be afraid to say anything. If you've got anything you want to get off your chest, don't hide behind the camera and make snide comments. Just,
Give us a call. Let's stir the pot.
That's right.
absolutely.
All right.
Yep. As you can see, the numbers
Poke the
down
bear.
below. Yeah, the numbers down below: 316-200-9066. Call in with your thoughts, your opinions, your questions, your comments, whatever you want to talk about.
Call
And
now.
With that being said, make sure you tell your friends, tell everybody, grab a stranger, let them know about the show. With that, like, subscribe, which is
Grab a stranger.
I change it up every now and then. Just tell someone, hey, hear about Cryptic Heart? Anyways, I'm like, get away from me, weirdo. But anyway, make sure you turn on notifications. That way you can know when we go live, whether it be for the show, whether we be off camera somewhere, off site, not off camera, off site. Doing a special episode, which we have a couple of those in the works behind the scenes that we're going to do here pretty soon. And away we go. And I'm done. Your turn. I'm kidding.
What?
No, I'm kidding. As you can see, we were missing a few on the panel tonight. They're got other things going on, but we got Dan the Man
I'm back.
over there. Yeah, he's
Happy
been
New
missing.
Year, everybody.
Yeah, there you go. He's been missing in action for a little bit, and now he's being interrogated over there by himself. So.
All by myself.
And then I got, of course, Jason and myself, and then the man behind the board over there, pretending to work over there, is Jeremiah. Nothing.
He just stares at you.
Yeah. We got weird shit going on with the audio already.
Oh, cool.
So,
Right on.
Really? Let me hear this stuff.
With that, everybody's gonna listen to the music on their headphones. He's listening to Justin Bieber. Jason's gonna put on some Backstreet Boys. I look like it's not true.
It sounds good.
Well, that's in studio.
Yeah, no, there was a I don't know if it was just coming across the mixer or if the people out in Facebook land heard it or
Probably.
not, but there was a noise came across the headphones a while ago that shouldn't have been there. So
Interesting. Is it a voice?
I couldn't
I heard
couldn't
something
tell.
like
'Cause I'm listening through muffled ears because of my beanie and all that, and I'm
Gotcha.
already deaf and. I don't know why you guys put me in charge of the sound. So
This is true.
because
Okay.
I don't know how to work any of that crap.
Some of the people at
don't.
home say everything sounds good. at
Cool.
home, but I did hear
Cool.
that in studio. That's why I was like, what is that?
Yeah.
But cool, right on. Well, what in the world do you want to talk about this week?
Absolutely nothing.
Cool, that's
Right
what I
on.
like. It's the best
Nope.
kind. So,
All right.
We're
Have
all
a good
done.
night,
That was
everybody.
it. That was
Nice
it.
show, guys. Have a good night.
so speaking of Justin Bieber, did you?
Wow.
Just trying to entertain Dan over there because he looks lonely.
Farmers only, buddy. Farmers only.
Farmers only. All right.
Well, no. I was wanting to talk about a little bit of what you guys think about the possibility of the power of suggestion, of what we do, everything that we do, places that we go to. Is there the possibility that people are thinking they're hearing and everything just because of the fact that they think they know that they're doing a investigation or anything like that, and are we just making it up in our own minds? Power of suggestion. Oh, I heard this over here and it said this. What's your guys' comments on that? I mean, it's kind of a thing that I feel that it does happen with a lot of places, a lot of people. I mean, it happens, but how do you distinguish between the real to the fake to... I think it's just a lot of people get fed a lot of BS sometimes too.
True that. Yeah.
And also the possible... Well, we'll just stick with that one for right now.
Yep. Sorry, I'm going to respond to this real quick. Dan, what are your thoughts on this? Go ahead.
Power of suggestion. Yeah, I do believe that. We've been in groups and we've had people that have been a part of the tours, and one of their friends react and say, "Hey, did you hear that?" Well, reactionary. Their friends heard it as well. May not have been the same thing, but they heard something, and yeah, that could have been a little girl. I think there is some power of suggestion. As far as us,
I think... I don't know. Sometimes I feel like doing it public events or anything like that, or working with people that aren't really part of our group or anything like that, I've seen where any other time being around these people, they're fine, they're normal. They don't walk into a room and go, "Oh, I feel it," But I feel like the moment we do an investigation or a public event, certain people just walk into a room and they immediately go into ghost mode,
Ghost mode,
and
yes, exactly.
and it's like I feel like they're just really playing into it, and it's hard for
Right.
me to actually believe anything anybody's saying at this point. At that
Right.
point,
Yeah, where they tune in or tune out themselves at any given opportunity. Yeah,
I feel this, I feel that. Oh, I'm sick. Oh, I feel it's so dark over there.
Lights are off.
Yeah, lights are off
Yeah.
usually. But
No, I like to. That's why when something's going on that I feel is related to the paranormal, I let it sit there for just a matter of seconds before I say any kind of comment. That way, I kind of look around at the room and see if anybody's
anybody else reacts
freaking out, or
exactly, yeah.
somebody's like, "Did you?" Kind of a thing. Just hear that. I'm laughing at Jeremiah upside down, sideways, off camera. But that's why I let it breathe for a little bit, and then I'll say something and try to see, because some people are taken by. I like the reaction, the genuine reaction of, "Oh, is that what that was?" I've seen that a couple of times on paranormal investigations that we do, public investigations. It's like, is that what I'm hearing? Because I'm like, that's how I started out in this when I first joined the team, and I kept hearing some weird stuff on our first investigation, and I'm like, why isn't anybody saying anything? Or, am I just crazy? Am I just hearing this and making this? Once again, is it my mind telling me I'm hearing
Now
this?
we all know the answer to those questions.
Yeah.
Hey, all you gotta do is ask, man. I would have told you myself. So. But no, but seriously, it's like, okay, nobody's saying anything. So then I started asking some I would just every now and then test the water. I'm like, well, did anybody hear that possible voice or that dragging sound or whatever that was? And somebody's like,
of course I didn't.
especially back then, Jason. You were getting told to
Shut
F off,
up.
remember? Or I'll get you, whatever.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I'm being told to fuck off, and people, and I'm still sitting there like,
Didn't even hear it. Yep. Uh-oh.
Got Captain Carl
We
calling.
got a
All
phone
right,
call.
Carl.
Put your cans on, boys.
Welcome to the Cryptic Heartland podcast. Is this Captain Carl?
It is.
Or is it Captain Chaos?
Mr. Chaos.
Let's go with chaos today.
Okay.
Hey, you guys just nailed a subject that's been on my mind. The power of suggestion. And I think you guys know that when you come to the facility that I take care of, I really try not to give people specific areas to try and avoid that. And for myself, I'm going to blame this on Roth because he's not there, and on some of you other guys, and you know who you are. But when you guys come out the end of the month, I went ahead and invested in a K2 meter for myself
Sweet.
because I'm looking for something to try and validate some of the stuff that has happened. And you guys got me.
Sorry.
Sorry.
They heard you talking, Carl.
Okay, what was that? What was that?
That was Walter.
Yeah, that's just the dogs upstairs.
But just trying to validate in my own mind some of the stuff that I'm seeing, being, feeling, whatever the case may be. I hate to be relying on technology, but yet it's that other side. How do you differentiate between, if you start thinking, oh, there's an evil spirit over here in this area, and you can freak yourself out, and then you start believing it. So that's kind of why I went ahead and made the investment. I don't know whether it's going to prove anything or not, but that's my answer to that question that you have posed.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say to that, honestly. But no, I agree. I mean, I can tell you a location is the most haunted spot in the whole building, and you probably would, not you, but the viewer or the person with us would probably believe it. And then any kind of noise, any kind of whatever could be, misconstrued as paranormal. But that's why when we do the place you're talking about, we tell a little bit of the stories, but we don't really give a whole lot of details. I mean, we do and we don't. I mean, the obvious known spots that we've talked about on previous shows, on previous investigations or whatever at this location, they're kind of becoming known. Because I know that the name that we come across, a couple of names that we came across, and there's some backstories to a couple of those names. People already on the outside are looking in already know of these names before we even get to go in there. I mean, talking about the spirit, the little girl. A lot of people.
Hey, Jeremiah.
Yes, sir.
The audio that's coming through the phone circuitry is very garbled. Have you got it just a little too hot? Of course,
Let's
I
see here.
get here for crap to begin with, So.
Is this any better?
Yeah, maybe it's our connection. I'll tell you what, guys. I'm going to hang up,
Okay.
and if you don't mind kind of repeating what you just said, I apologize to all the other people for having to backtrack, but kind of interested on where you went with that conversation.
Okay.
All right, cool.
Oh, no, that's better.
Is that better
Yeah,
now?
that's
Is that better now?
Yes, sir, that is.
Yeah, I've got this nifty little gadget that I use to plug the foam into the mixer board, and I always forget to make sure the gain on it is set right. So
So you said that's better,
Yes,
Carl?
yes. That's tons better, yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Okay. No, what I said was, I can vouch for what you're saying about as far as the power, persuasion and stuff like that. Especially with the location that you're talking about. We try to not give too much information away initially during the public investigations, other than it seems to be known fact that everybody knows the hot spots before we even had a chance to even really go over it, because it could be because they've been with us on past investigations, or maybe they've heard some of our evidence or whatever, well, actually the evidence is not out there, so they can't really
Right.
hear that yet. But
We've played. I have played
Yeah.
some of it at the events and everything.
right.
so.
But the thing that always astonishes me is the fact that, like I said, some of the information is already out there as far as what possible spirits are out there, because I know on a couple of names that are thrown around, without giving too much information away, they may or may not be fact-based. So, and I think you may know what I'm talking about, Carl, hopefully. If you understand what I'm going
Well,
with.
I started.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then of course, there's a little spirit of a child up there that was named. That, I mean, how much truth is it behind there? We don't know. Other than the fact is, we've got a name. When she told us, and we kind of ran with that. But what I was saying is, it seems to be that people already know of these names before we even have talked about them really on the investigation. So they're calling out the names before we do in some cases, and it's astonishing to me. It's like, well, that's the power of persuasion right there at its finest. I mean, you and I and all of us have named these spirits, or have designated their names for them, that people already know who they are. So I mean, that's power of persuasion right there.
Right.
But no, like I said, we don't like to take them. We usually take them to the exact hot spot location that we've had our own personal experiences in, or the fact that we've in public investigations. We like to let them wander a little bit and see, kind of get a idea of what they pick up on, and see if they have the same claims or experiences that we have, or maybe there's new ones that we're not that aware of yet. So.
Guys, we're starting to get a real bad echo again.
Okay. Let's just.
Why don't I hang up
Okay.
and just listen on Facebook? And but Happy New Year, all you guys. So look forward to seeing y'all soon.
You too, Carl.
Happy New
Thank you.
Year.
Okay, bye.
All right, bye-bye, man.
No, and he also mentioned, like relying on the technology
Sure.
and everything. We don't always rely on everything like that,
No.
I mean, it's fun to like use the equipment, like we're gonna try this out, in next weekend,
Right, and a few other things.
and a lot of other things.
Well, yeah.
Next weekend. But it's fun to actually see what the equipment is picking up and stuff like that. I mean, even
Right.
like the mel meter, just knowing that there's nothing right there, it should not be anything, and it's reading at a 0,
Right.
Right.
and then all of a sudden there's a fluctuation. That
Right.
what's causing that?
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, just simple things like that. In the K2, it's
K2, you got to be really careful with,
Very
because
true.
it's so easy to manipulate. Of course, all the equipment can technically be manipulated. I
Yeah.
mean, because it didn't start as ghost hunting equipment; they were used for other things and been modified over time, of course, and that's what we use today. A lot of the teams you see on TV and local use the same equipment, so. And there's always new stuff coming out daily. But go ahead.
I like the simple things, like even the flashlight trick,
Yeah.
Dowsing rods.
the dowsing rods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, can they be manipulated?
Of course,
sure,
sure.
but if you're watching the people doing it and making sure they're just staying still and just holding onto it,
Yep.
Right.
and it's just moving and it's answering to the questions, you can tell whether or not somebody's doing that,
Right.
because it's very obvious if you're seeing their hands moving. But
Yeah.
done right, you get some really great responses, and we had that in Dodge City.
Right.
But
But one of the best, I mean, I'll stand by it to the end of time. One of the best pieces of equipment is the simplest one. The basic one is a digital recorder. I mean,
Yeah.
that's where you get
Right.
your money maker. You're going to capture more stuff that way. But once again, can it be manipulated? Of course. I mean, every little fart noise, squeak,
Right.
can is that
Right.
a voice? No, it's just Jake's ass talking again. So,
Exactly.
that's for you, Jake.
for
At home.
the fact that we always eat Mexican food right before we do an
Always,
investigation.
always.
And guess what we're doing next time?
Next weekend, that's what we're
Yeah,
doing.
Mexican food. All right. Or as I call it, food. So, but no, I mean, power of persuasion it's a strong thing. It's everywhere. Not even necessarily in ghost hunting. I mean, it's try this new soft drink, try this new weight gain, loss, whatever, weight loss,
Right.
not gain, weight loss. Well, both actually, gain and loss. But and don't eat that because it's bad for you. It has this in it. And go ahead.
I just, part of it is like those people who come in and they're just immediately like, oh my God, it's so dark and evil over here, and I'm
Right.
just feeling like this, and I'm like, really? And then you got other people that are like,
How much?
afraid
And
to-
the first thing that always comes to my mind is how much time did you spend on Google about this place specifically before you came here?
Right.
You know, and I hate to be that way. I hate to think that way about people, but I mean, what?
For me, I feel
I'm
like
sorry,
it's
not-
attention getting.
Not everyone, not even half of the people that walk through our doors at events could even what's the word I'm looking for? The chances of that many, intuitives walking through the
Right.
doors at one of our events is like astronomical. It
Especially-
couldn't happen.
Especially when they've never done it before.
Right.
And they claim that, because I'll ask them, I was like, well, do you get this in every building you go to? And they're like,
No.
they hesitate, and they're like, no. And I'm like, oh, so just here? Just by chance here tonight while we're doing this,
But no, I have noticed the numbers have grown drastically from when we first started doing this in public investigation. It seems like a lot more people are coming out claiming to be of some kind
Right.
of whatever you want to call it, whatever label you want to put on it.
And they may be.
Right.
They may be.
Right.
It's,
Well, and we talked about that before. I feel like everybody has that gift.
Yeah.
They just don't know
Yeah.
how to use it, or it's
It's not developed
bottled
or
up, yeah.
just,
Right.
for whatever reason. But with that being said, not everybody knows how to control it or use it in the right way or whatever. But yeah, it's kind of hard. I've always had a problem with it when people come out and announce it. That
I always love it when they just announce it right away, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, okay.
yeah,
All
it's
right.
like once again, all eyes on me kind of a thing.
Yeah,
but-
yeah. It's an attention getter for the night for them.
Yeah.
Right.
They're like, okay, I want to be center of this show tonight,
Right.
Mhm.
and I want to be, put me in front every time we go into a room. I want to be right there, and you use me.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I remember on one of our public investigations, we do a Q&A kind of a thing before we actually dive into the investigation part of things, and somebody asked us that question: do you guys ever bring mediums on to locations? And I sat there for 2 seconds, like, how am I going to answer this question honestly and truthfully? And finally, I just said, you know what? No, we don't actually, because I don't like to. Because if I say, yeah, this person right here is a medium,
Right.
it's going to be leeches on them all night. It's just like everything they say or do is fact.
Right.
It could be misleading. Who knows? But I don't like to do that. I just like, we don't really advertise it that often. But when we do, we use a credible source like Lena.
Mhm.
Lena's a very credible source.
And is
And that's why she's with us.
and is audio still working for everybody at
Yeah.
home?
Yeah.
Everybody can hear.
Yeah.
Okay.
'Cause I was getting
Okay.
okay.
Just had someone tell me that.
Again,
Well, just all of a sudden can barely hear us. I don't know if it's just me.
probably
or-
me too. Stepping
Well-
away and pulling the mic back. So, oh shoot,
That's all right.
that's just yours.
I had to back the sound off a little bit ago
Okay.
because
And
all
now
of a
it's too
sudden
loud.
we were overloading for
That's
some
all right.
reason.
But yeah, continue what you were saying.
No, I was
sir.
just saying. So like this field is such a tricky, and I'm not gonna get on a soapbox tonight because it'll just lead down a bad negative hole, rabbit hole. But I mean, this field we do, I love it and I hate it at the same time. I love what we do because we get to do history, we get to talk
Yeah.
to people. I mean, some of the stuff we've seen and done over the years is mind blowing.
Right, and it's hard from an aspect of when I first started doing this. It was just us as a team
Right.
going in, learning off of each other, and doing the investigation, getting back with the client, talking. Now we've kind of developed this whole bigger scale where we're dealing with the public on a larger scale, and we're having to kind of put our own selves on the back burner while we're allowing them to do everything, which is what I want. I want people to experience stuff. But at the same time, we run into people that are just, never done it before, but yet, they're all of a sudden masters of all medium world.
They've all
Basically.
watched the reality shows.
Yeah, and
Right.
everybody's
They-
watched
they-
those,
yeah.
and they know the tricks, and we
Yeah.
have to like distinguish between, okay, are you really telling us the truth, or are you just bullshitting us for a factor of the night? So,
Right.
But one thing I do, I let them have their own adventure. That's one thing I always preach. This is yours, jump on it, go with it. But I mean, there's comes a time and a place where you have to kind of like not overcorrect them in a spot, but just kind of like if you know some facts behind it, maybe give a little help and just bring the whole group together and versus. Because we've been on locations where somebody has been a standout in the crowd for whatever reason, and people, it ruins some of the experience for other people because they feel like they're
Right.
getting too much attention or
Showboating.
whatever, or maybe
Yeah.
just for one, shut up so I can listen to whatever everything's going over here, kind of a thing. But it, like I said, do what you want with it, but
yeah.
but try not to persuade people unless you know it's 100% fact. I mean, how much of it do any of us know?
None of it's 100%.
Yeah,
I
nothing's
mean-
guaranteed other than what history has taught us, maybe in a location. But
Oh shoot! I just forgot where I was going with something.
All right, old man.
I know it. I'm a little tired today.
no excuses, play like a champion. I'm just kidding.
I have been.
I know. But no, and like I said, it's funny that you see how many people have come out and watched the shows. I mean, not that we are the foremost experts on this stuff. We've just been doing it a long damn time. And so when they come in with big old, intricate, stuff that they brought, their own personal equipment, which is fine, use it. That way, there's more for the experience for you, but you can tell who's seen the shows, who hasn't, based upon the line of questioning or the way the way they carry themselves and stuff like that. And like I said, you just want to be careful because you don't want to persuade somebody into believing
Right.
something that's not true or whatever. And that includes for us. Like I said, we're not the foremost experts, but we've been doing it forever. Over 10 plus years.
Right.
And
We've learned a few things
yeah,
over the years.
We're
so-
seasoned. Let's put it that way. Yeah, we've been doing it for a while. So.
And it's hard to tell people that though, and explain that we've been doing it for a while, so we kind of know what we're talking about. But
Right.
they've watched the shows too, so therefore they're experts as well.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm not trying to bitch or moan or anything like
Right.
that. But it's just the power of suggestion for everybody. It's I feel like it's getting worse and worse with people walking into rooms and feeling like they can read the room, and I'm like, have you done this all your life or just now?
Right.
And it to me it just bugs me, and it kind of starts to kill the mood for me when I'm somewhere.
Right.
That's when I
Right.
want to wander off and leave my group.
Yeah.
But and that goes for anybody. When they come walking into a room and I've never worked with them before or anything. I'm not talking about any of you guys. No. But no, because you guys, I mean, when I first met you, I was just like, what are you hearing? I was just like, I kept looking at Ben and everybody, and I'm like, what is he hearing all the time? And then you go back and listen to the audio, and sure,
right there.
It's
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then I was just like fascinated and just wanting to follow him around everywhere.
Boy, that's a big mistake. You want to see CD? I'll show you CD.
Well, you hear something, you just take off running. That's where I kind of like learned how to do that too. Just like,
Well, speaking of crazy, earlier we were talking about that.
pointing to him.
Well, because he said we know that about me now. No, but I would say that's the funniest thing about us as investigators, because I've been watching. Well, I watched Ghost Adventures last night. I watch it because it's entertainment, and it's cool if what they're doing is true, or some of the equipment they have out there is neat to watch, and just gives me ideas for stuff that we can do as far as behind for our equipment. But they were interviewing a couple of them paranormal investigators at this location that have had experiences there, and about 3 or 4 of them said once we heard footsteps we ran out of the house. I'm like, why the hell would you run out of the house?
Why?
I mean,
then you're not really meant to
are
be
you
doing
you're a
this. at
paranormal
all.
investigator? I mean, because that's the difference between us and a sane person. A sane person would be like, let's go, And we're like, hey, do you hear that noise? Let's run towards it. Let's
Yeah.
run towards the danger when it comes to this stuff. And it just baffled me when I saw that. I'm like, really? You're a paranormal investigator? No, it wasn't Zach and them, even though
Right.
they run too, of course. But
They do not.
yeah, Zach. Anyways, I was like that. Aaron, this is the worst place ever. Go down there by yourself, and I'm going to be upstairs over here by my.
With the owner over here.
It's like,
yeah.
really? Aren't you supposed to be the quote unquote
The leader.
leader of the group?
Yeah.
And this is, anyways. No,
It's in the pond.
No, and like I said, I think he's went from paranormal investigator to celebrity, and that's where it's kind of in his mind has got clouded a little bit. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, based upon it, whatever intention he can get with his museum is phenomenal. Don't get me wrong. I mean, the stuff he has in there is like, holy shit, how'd you get that?
Right.
But it's just like it's all about me drinking in, kind of a thing, and it's unfortunate. Hopefully, he's lost sight of what it is, what it means to be an investigator. And now, would I trade places with him? 100%. I mean, shit, who doesn't want that money and
Right.
that fame? I mean, he gets to go to places we don't get to go to.
You're right.
Any
I mean,
side he
so,
wants to go to, basically.
I mean, it's,
Yeah.
whether their story's true or not. I mean, what they present, it's the fact he gets to go to these locations.
Hmm.
So
Maybe it's just a little bit of enviness, we're just a little. But so here's another view.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, keep going.
Nope.
Well, no, I don't know if you're going where I think you're gonna go with it. What we talked about.
No, go
earlier.
ahead. Go ahead.
No, you said you have another view. Go ahead. I don't want to jump on your toes. Come on.
I was just thinking, like, how much of it is actually true when it comes to the paranormal locations that we actually go to? Is it something? Is there anything really there, or are we bringing something along with ourselves, and it's interacting with us? Or, when we do events, how much of the stuff that we're encountering and why it's changing is the fact that there's stuff attached to our guests
Right.
that they don't even know about
Right.
that's happening. I mean, there's also that possibility of that. They probably have no idea that there's something attached to them, but there you go.
Right.
And it could be the reason why in certain locations that we keep doing, it just keeps changing.
Right.
Yeah. No, I always thought that too. Wondered that same thing because the place we always talk about is Tahlequah. I mean, that changed a lot of our lives along the way, and
Hmm.
some good and bad. And it's like how much of that is on us, soiled on us, that we're bringing it and
Right.
moving it to their. I mean, well, Callahan will tell you, he had experiences clear back in Kansas City that he attributes to Tahlequah, and I feel like that's what happened to some of us too. Same thing. Some of the experiences the things we encountered down there, when we brought back with us, intentionally or unintentionally. But if that's the case, we're taking it everywhere we go. I mean, location to location. And who's to say that we haven't been in a location that we didn't know we encountered something, whatever it may be, and we took it to another location, like it got attached to us or whatever.
Right.
But I think that's what you're kind of saying. Maybe some of that activity is brought about by
Yeah, I mean,
previous encounters, or
like, I want to say there's a museum that we do up north that they have claims of like at least 2 that are in there and everything like that. But what if the things that are changing and everything like that? What if that there is the possibility that we're bringing more things into it and we're not really getting the interaction from the 2 that were given to us, the stories of those 2 that were given to us
Right.
when we first started and we showed up? What if more things were attracted to us when we started doing it and setting up, and things started coming in, and that's why each time we go now, it's something completely different, and we're not getting the interaction with the 2 that the location says, hey, it should be just him and him, but we're getting female, we're getting child, we're getting weird faces that are glowing orange and stuff like that out in a different building and stuff like that. I feel like it's just, I don't know, I think it's like it's drawing, every time we do stuff on a larger scale, I feel like we are drawing a lot more to it, and it's changing the story of what's actually there.
Right.
Well, see, like the second night that we went to that off-site location during the day, in between
Yeah.
the 2 investigations, and
Yeah.
that second night, I mean, it was a little bit darker out in one of the buildings, and who knows? I mean, we did have the darkness on that offsite location, or at least I mean, it was strange. And did it follow us over there? You know,
Quite
Could
possible.
have.
It's only blocks away, so
Right.
why wouldn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
possible. One of our viewers asked, "Do the guys ever do anything to keep from things attaching to you? If so, what do you do? Like, I mean,
I have some stones that I do carry.
I got two.
If, you know, yeah, exactly. You know, you know, we go to a location that is known for darkness. I mean, you know, I don't want the attachment. And again, you know, talk to Arlena, you know, and you know,
For some reason, I don't know why. I just don't have any fear for it. I just
Right.
don't even think it's even going to happen.
That's why you're possessed." No, I'm kidding.
No, I don't. I mean,
No.
I just, besides the one location up north,
Mhm.
you know,
Right.
that you guys, you know, said I was acting a little weird afterwards, but I've never had the real fear of anything being attached to me or anything. You know, I go home, I go to bed, I go on about my life, and
Okay, with that being said, no, talking about Tahlequah, you know what I've said about the past, how our lives were changed, affected by it. I mean, I don't know where you ever really stand upon it. You never have said one way or another, but you don't have to get into too much depth as far as detail goes of what occurred afterwards. But do you think that was the case? Or is this because I've been telling you this? Do you feel like it's once again power
Power of
persuasion?
suggestion.
Is it me telling you that?
I don't know.
It just seems a lot of coincidental stuff occurred.
Yeah,
But go ahead.
in all of our lives, yeah, it did. A lot of things changed, you know, but I didn't feel like anything affected me you know, my body, my mind, or anything like that. I don't feel like it affected me at all. In fact, I want to go back and I want more.
Right.
And it's just more, it's fueled me more than anything
Sure.
to want to be there and stuff. But it's on the aspect of a personal, like private and life. Was that the reason or the cause for everything? Then I don't know.
Right.
There could be. I mean, it could be the fact that there was some issues from Tahlequah that came back, and instead of attacking me, attacked my wife that, who passed away. So
Well, you kind of forget about your own personal stuff. And I won't blurt your business out on air, but I'll just.
oh yeah, well yeah.
Well, there's that little small thing.
No, yeah, and
I'm not saying that. I mean, life happens. I mean, we're getting older. Shit
well,
happens.
I blame diabetes on the fact that I don't eat well.
None of us do.
I love donuts. I love junk food, stuff like that. But no, it's true. That did happen. That did occur to it happened to me in 2015. I found out I had it.
Right.
But you guys haven't been.
What?
Well, I mean, I guess we all have our own health
Yeah.
issues and everything. But what were you affected by anything by when you were actually from before you went down there?
Not to my knowledge.
Yeah.
I mean, could have been, but my eye condition that I have now
Right.
wasn't found out till right after that. Within months. So, I don't know.
Right.
But who knows? And then
Yeah.
I know it affected me on a personal level. Like I said, speaking of attachments and stuff like that, I came back and work was not ideal for me. I mean, not that it's not ideal for anybody, but had a very dark chapter in my life as a result, I believe. Yeah, I think it was, no matter what we tried to do to protect ourselves, because I was real leery of the place. I mean, going down there. As soon as, like I said, if you read the book, The Agony That Remains, and just some of our personal accounts we've talked about, just stepping out there, you could feel immediately all eyes on you kind of a thing, where it's like everything was watching you, your every move, and you had to be careful what you did. I mean, you had to watch, other than just physical stuff like the snakes and stuff like that are out there, and spiders, of course, but talking about the things we can't see. that you could just feel, eyeing you and whatever, kind of seeing what you're gonna do, and the interactions that I had with the things in the woods and just weird shit like I can't explain. When I came back, I was a different person from until I could regain control of things, basically.
Right.
And it was weird. It was a weird part of my life, but it's part of my. But now, would that have happened had I never gone there? Who's to say? I mean,
Right.
and none of the stuff that we've had, I don't know.
And that's the part that's, because it's easy to look back on stuff like that and place blame.
Sure, of course.
But then that's you can't really do that because, like you said, you just don't know. It might have happened anyway.
Right. Yeah.
It just because, like you said again, life happens. We're
Right.
all older. Things affect us more physically. Everyone has a lot of mental and emotional baggage that we carry around, and it's easy to look back on stuff like that and place blame.
Of course.
Right.
Yeah.
I personally try not to do that because, well, on one front, I'm kind of like Jason. I just don't really have a fear of it.
Right.
By any stretch of the imagination. But at the same time, I do know there's stuff out there that carries ill will towards people.
Right.
But
I mean, it's just
there are things that I do to,
Yeah.
I won't go into a lot of detail on, but there's things that I do to keep that stuff
right.
away from me and my family as best I can.
Of course. Yeah.
And it just,
And then
You know.
that brings up the question: how much of that? Not that I'm doubting what you're doing or anything, because that's a different conversation. But how much of that really works? It doesn't work. Once again, is it the power of suggestion, power of persuasion? I mean, because if you think about it, but just in general, the only reason I refer to Tahlequah a lot is because it was a jumping off point, and I don't blame the place. I'm like Jason. I love the place. I want to go back there. It's like I wish we could go back there all the time. Unfortunately, it's not always the case, but going into there, it was a unique case, unique grounds. I mean, it's Native American, and this goes for any place, Native American, whatever, house behind next door, whatever. If you don't tread lightly, or if you just go in there and don't respect the atmosphere or the surroundings, you could easily disturb that, that continuum, spectrum, whatever you want to call it. I mean,
Right.
It's easy to do. That's why you can get an attachment anywhere. I mean, or you can, because it's possible.
You could walk into a bank and get an attachment.
Right.
I mean,
I hope so.
it
My
really.
pockets get fatter.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you could. I mean, if you're
Yeah.
worried about it so much, then
Right.
don't leave your house.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be, there's a possibility anywhere you go. It doesn't have to be like a known
Sure.
haunted location or anything like that for you to be affected by. If you truly, we've done this for so long that we know that, it's everywhere.
Right.
And it's happening everywhere at all times, and it's not just, at midnight on Halloween or anything like that. It's not that case, and you're not going to get possessed each and every freaking time.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you could walk in anywhere and be affected by it.
Sure.
You could walk into a family's, home that you haven't been into a long time, and then all of a sudden someone who may have passed away in your family's life, you could have all of a sudden be
Right.
attached to you.
Right.
Who knows?
Of course. Yeah, easily.
So-
Especially for those that do have that gifts we talk about. If you even acknowledge that you have those, not necessarily out loud, but if the spirits, entities can detect that you have that gift, they seem to go to you more
Right.
because this person
Yeah.
can hear me. I'm going to talk to
Yeah.
this person.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the movie Ghost? And I hate to bring that movie up because it's stupid, but Whoopi Goldberg's character, she's a medium, whatever. As soon as they find out she was had this gift, they wouldn't shut up and talk to her nonstop, and she's just like, leave me alone, kind of a thing. It drove
Right.
her crazy for a minute, but
Yeah.
that's a good reference point. That's the reason I bring that movie up because that's exactly what it's like,
It's a good movie for the time.
Was it though? But no, and to be people at home, I'm not afraid of anything that's happened or anywhere we go. I'm not trying to portray that. Oh God, I'll never go back. 'Cause
Right.
honestly, I've been back multiple times now, and
Yeah.
I do things I never do. That's even baffles me sometimes, but like camping.
You went from
Don't even say
you
it.
went from tent camping to RV
Okay,
camping.
let me ask this. Okay, I brought my tent and my sleeping bag, but when Roth
I never
offers me
saw
the
it.
chance to, hey, you want to sleep in an RV or out in this cold ground? Oh shit, I'm gonna go inside with the no snakes, no mosquitoes, no bugs, man.
Snake's not getting in my tent.
That you know of. You better hope not.
Well, I hope
Next
it's
time I'm
not.
gonna put one in there
No.
just to prove a point.
You know, honestly, out there, the things that I was more afraid of was the ticks and the
Yeah.
possibility of the big cats
Yep.
and
Yeah.
bear
Yeah.
Yep.
that were out there.
I agree.
Especially when Marvin even said, you know,
Yeah.
about a month before we got there, he saw a bear up on the hill.
Yeah, up on that
Cage,
ridge.
Yeah.
above
Yeah.
it, we investigate. I'm like, that's cute.
You know.
Well, when they had reports of copperheads out there, and it's just like, fuck
Yeah.
that. I don't need that in my life.
I love hiking. I love doing all that stuff. But yeah, it's scary. And then when I'm crawling on the ground to
know.
get underneath the barbed wire fence, you know,
Day and night.
as I'm doing it, I'm like, what am I doing? What am I? Why am I doing this?
I did
Right,
it.
right.
And then I always end up with ticks on me.
Get down
you know?
here and play with the
Yeah.
ticks for a while.
Yeah,
And
I don't get it, but shit. It's
We
what
still
it's what
do.
we do.
Well, okay,
It's
so
what we
there-
do.
there's one thing about now. I know it's something physical, and I'm probably about to jinx myself. But you know, in all the times that we've been out wallering around in the woods and all this, that, and the other, in my entire life, I've never once had a tick. I've never once gotten poison ivy, poison oak, or poison sumac. And I rubbing up in the same type of stuff that. Okay, this is gonna sound a little weird, but the same type of stuff that I do to protect myself against spiritual attachments is the same stuff I do to protect myself against that.
Right. No, I get it. No,
I mean, it's working somewhere.
yeah.
So I'm going to go cut some poison ivy and rub it on
I
the
know.
on his steering wheel at
Where's your
his
tick
truck.
pin at? You need to bring that back and throw it on him. Liar. You know, luckily, knock on whatever wood. I don't have no wood around here.
Table.
Yeah, I guess that's wood.
Yeah.
Every time we've been down there, I've never got a tick on me either. At least I never found one. So, which could probably explain a lot why I am the way I am. But I probably had them on me this whole time. No, really though, I've been pretty fortunate because I remember like one of the, I think it was the second, I don't know what time it was, probably the third time. The last time I think, not third time, but the last time we were down there, I remember driving into town and Paula was driving us and she had one climbing on her arm.
Yeah.
It was like, what the hell? She's like taking it and trying to drive and not kill us all, wreck, and she's like grabbing it and trying to throw it out the window. And
Yeah. Well, we were out there for 3 days.
Thursday through Sunday.
Yeah.
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 So,
So a good full 3 days
Yeah.
of like actually investigating and,
Yeah.
and running around.
Yeah, that was a phenomenal trip. Aside from some of the just other crap that went on, but that was still just a phenomenal trip.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was a unique experience, and I'll always cherish it because it was fun. And I know Dan's just sitting there going, "Fuck you guys, I've never been there," and he wants to go because he heard the story. And so is Jake, you know. I mean, and I think the best part, Paula put it the best. She's like, "You guys hear all these stories you have told us over the years about this place, the experience and things of that nature, and then I get down there and I have this built up, you know."
Yeah.
You know, notion in my head, and then you get down there and it's not like you guys describe it. Well, I mean, not in a bad way. It's just, oh, this is it. Oh, oh, wow, and it's just floodgates open, you know, kind of a thing.
Right.
Yeah.
It's mesmerizing, but it's fun. It's a fun location. We'll get back again eventually. I know we will. It's just gotta let it do its thing.
Yeah.
Before we can. So, this kind of, I think we mentioned a little bit about it, but we had a viewer ask about children seeing spirits, you know, claiming to see spirits, or, you know, have interaction with spirits.
Right.
Kind of what our thoughts are on that, and just what do you think?
Well, I you know, you hear the stories, and we actually went to a case and investigated a house, friends of yours, or an acquaintance of yours, and that's how they reached out to you, and that's when we did it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And but I've also had other parents tell me, how their child is like, for the longest time is constantly staring up at a certain corner of the wall or
Right.
something of the room, and stuff like that. And in certain case that I was just talking about, it's
Yeah.
the child is actually like pointing, and it's just a bare wall,
Mhm.
but they're pointing and saying something, like they're seeing it.
Right.
And it's happening on a daily basis. It's just something catches your eye. I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I honestly, yeah, I believe that. I mean, throughout all the research and everybody, throughout the years, everybody says that from children to animals, they just have that intuitive. Their fresh mind.
Right.
Blank slate, like I got
Right.
calling.
Yeah, you're not flooded with all kinds of stuff. Like my problem as an adult now is the fact, and it's the fact that when we go out on events and you're always telling me I need to clear my mind
Right.
and I need to like be in the room and stop worrying about stuff, but so I'm not paying attention as much. I have so many things going through my mind all night long. I'm not really paying attention as much as I should be. Now
Right.
this coming Saturday, it's just going to be us. So therefore, I'm looking forward to actually
Be
just
relaxed a little bit more.
yeah, to actually investigate instead of trying to like do the public event stuff.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I miss out all the time because my
Mhm.
brain's so junked up with all kinds of things that are going on. But kids, they're fresh. They're blank
Right.
blank.
Yeah. Let
So-
me share a story with you, and this is probably the source of that question. And this was just earlier today, actually. We were at the apartment, and Stephanie was getting ready to go pick up the kids. I was getting ready to head this way, and Sophie was upstairs. She's running up and down the stairs now.
Oh, no.
She was up at the top of the stairs, and Stephanie was at the bottom of the stairs, coaxing her down. And Sophie, she was down like 3 or 4 steps from the top, and Stephanie reached over and turned the lights off at the top of the stairs and looked up, and there's a figure standing at the top of the stairs. This kind of stuff happens on a fairly regular basis in our apartment.
Right.
She said the weird part about it this time was that it seemed to catch Sophie's eye, and Sophie turned around and looked up and looked away just about the same time the figure faded. So, I mean,
Right.
I wasn't, I was at the other end of the apartment, so I didn't get to see it. But
Right.
it was very interesting the way it all just kind of played out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Jason. I believe that kids that have that blank slate, they haven't been taught not to see things yet.
Right.
Yeah,
You
they
know.
close their mind off.
They're not
Yeah.
influenced, yeah,
Yeah.
as much as we have been over the years.
Right.
Our own experiences and teachings and stuff like that, yeah.
So
Yeah. Which I always feel that's a good and a bad thing at times, because then you have the things that are darker side, they seem to tend to migrate towards children because
Yeah.
they know that's my way into this
right,
household or this family to manipulate. It's like I can gain the trust of this child who's
hmm
doesn't have doesn't know how to say no, basically, kind of a thing, or
right,
definitely can be scary. And that's why I don't know, I've read this and heard this multiple times, especially when it comes to demonic. You always hear about the thing they see as a small child, but a girl. And I think it's because my opinion states, because I think it's, am I going to be more afraid of a small child boy or a girl, or am I going to be more inviting? Or, if I see a boy running a car, it's like, okay, that's weird. But if I see a girl, it's like, oh, kind of a thing, you're more...
there's a degree of perceived innocence,
Yeah.
innocence
Yeah.
there that
It's because
you
always
know,
a girl in a little dress, whether it be blue or white,
Right.
pigtail or whatever hair,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
doll or whatever, it's always the same description. And I've heard that, and when I hear it on paranormal shows, it was like, oh, well, they think the same way apparently, because they're stating it here,
Right.
same thing.
right,
It's just interesting, yeah, and it's unfortunate, but once again, as long as you do what you need to do, protect yourself,
Hmm.
whether it be through prayer, through stones, whether it be anything. Sage, if you do it the right way, kind of a thing. I mean, anything, it works.
Right.
But then again, how much is it power? Is it a mind thing?
What's
It makes-
that?
How much of it is it a mind thing? A mind thing?
Well,
Power-
then,
power
okay. So,
suggestion.
I mean, if you
Power
want to get
suggestion.
into definitions, I mean, if you any of that stuff could be classified as magic to an extent. Okay. Now, magic, classically defined, would be the use of earthen tools, herbs,
Right.
natural items
Right.
to augment a person's willpower to affect a desired result.
Mm-hmm.
That's the definition of magic.
Sure.
So
Or could it be power of suggestion to make you just feel like you're doing something good for yourself?
That's what I was wondering too. I watched a show today that kind of hit upon that. That's why it's fresh in my mind, and it
I'm not saying that it is.
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
saying, what if it is? What if in the grand scheme of things, it does it because it gives you like that
peace of mind, basically.
peace of mind and that confidence that nothing's going to happen.
And I'm all for
Well,
it. I'm all for it.
yeah.
Hell yeah! If it makes you feel
It's-
better
it's,
at night, so
well,
be it.
okay, so which came first, the cart or the horse, or the chicken or the egg?
Right.
And you've got the
Right.
law of attraction, and you've got
Right.
Yeah.
it's all a matter of perspective. From that point,
Right.
how you want to look at it.
Sure.
So
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. No, like I said, I'm behind that as far as if it makes you go to sleep at night or go to a location you feel like you're protected, then go for it. That's okay. Nothing wrong with that. I mean,
Right.
to each their own. Believe what
Right.
you want to believe. Practice what you want to practice.
I mean, it
So
was
be it.
honestly, when you did stuff, you kind of did that for us out in Tahlequah.
Yeah.
And I actually enjoyed that. That was like amazing to watch and see and everything like that.
yeah, and there was some odd stuff. I mean, you got to admit there was some
Yeah.
crazy
Yes.
stuff that happened
Yeah.
around that.
Especially when you asked, for what was it? You cannot harm us, you cannot
Right.
touch us, you cannot follow us, and then
It was
There was a
and it
loud
and I
scream.
also included you can't bring harm to any of our tools or equipment.
Right. Right.
And both times when that happened, or when both times that this was being filmed, and those words were spoken, Casey's cameras just shut down.
right.
Just
But did you remember the loud scream that happened?
yes, yeah.
But
Yes.
I have it filmed.
Do you?
Yeah. I set up a camera off in the distance nobody knows
Cool.
about, and I have a video of all.
Cool.
So it
Cool.
did get captured. So,
Wow.
So
but the scream, not so much. Darn it, unfortunately,
Well-
because it was in the distance behind where the camera was facing. It was from the campsite facing towards.
Right.
And,
right.
Yeah.
So how often are you setting up mysterious cameras and filming
You
us?
see that one right there? Just kidding. You look. No, but no.
It's you. I'm like, I don't know what you do, I never know.
The funny thing is, do you remember how that whole thing came about, Jeremiah, down in
Yeah.
Tahlequah? I asked you.
Us talking on the way down there.
I said,
And,
have you ever done anything to conjure something up? That's what I
Yeah.
asked, because I wanted to see if we could do something to stir it up a little bit, because of the surrounding circumstances of our visit down there. And he's like, no, I never really thought about that. But then we ended up doing something more spiritual, we'll say.
yeah,
And,
I
for
wasn't
protection.
really, especially with the history of the place down
Right,
there. I wasn't
right.
real comfortable with any kind of a conjuring ritual, but it was more of a summoning and binding.
mhm.
Okay, hey, interact with us, but these are your limits, type
Right.
deal.
You know what would be interesting? I would like to go back and do the same thing again, because you remember how we to the circle, to get out of the circle. Remember you had you had the option of Jeremiah rubbing something on your hand kind of like a protection, kind of a, we'll say. I would be curious, because I took it.
Mhm.
I had my reservations about it that night, because I like to push the limits a little bit.
Right?
Next time I won't take it to see
Okay.
what would happen.
Yep.
Just kind of a experimental type.
Yep.
And then who knows? I'll probably be crawling down your tent, Jeremiah.
Please,
Protect me.
I'm all out.
No. He's like, I'm all out. You missed your chance. We don't eat the chicken. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. That's not what was used. We don't use any kind of
No live
sacrifices. Yeah.
No
Disclaimer: no animal was harmed during the making of this. I'm just kidding.
Got
Oh,
the comments
God. On that note, you probably want to take a little quick break.
Yep, I can do that.
All right.
People at home, hopefully we didn't scare you off or turn anybody away, but please make sure you come back, like, subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications, that way you get notified when we go live, and rejoin us after the break. We're going to have some more fun stuff to talk about. You never
Yep.
know what's going to be said or seen or done.
Absolutely.
All right, on that note, away we go. back.
All right.
Hi.
So I hope you guys had a chance to do whatever you needed to do on your break. And now, don't forget to like and subscribe and share and help us get the word out about what we're doing here.
Yes, sir.
What are we doing here?
I don't freaking know.
Okay.
I never know.
Who knows?
I'm just here because I'm contractually obligated to be here. I'm just kidding. But no, I think we ended on a good, fun topic, or
Yeah.
just everything as far as talked about power suggestion and things of that nature.
And speaking of power suggestion, for next Saturday, I haven't looked a single thing up on the location that
No.
we're doing. For once, I'm going in fresh, blind, and just, I know I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna, meet and greet and get the tour and everything like that. But I kind of wish I'm not, so I don't have to hear the stories. I may just let Rope do it.
That's
Yeah.
a good idea.
Just let him go off and listen to it. Well, I'll drive him, drop him off, then I'll just hang back, because I really do want to stop having that
Connection.
suggestive.
Right.
I think it's just better to actually do an investigation, not knowing a single thing.
Yeah.
Right.
You can maybe hear some of the claims of the client, but I don't know.
I've always really it's hard to do especially when you're in the leadership position on the team.
Right.
But I've always really preferred to just go in completely cold
Mm-hmm.
and see what kind of experiences you have, see what kind of evidence you gather, and then see how that lines up with historical claims and whatnot.
Right.
Did you know anything about the Forum Theater before going in there?
The only thing I knew about the Forum Theater was that there was allegedly one of the old pastors that was very angry in the place. That was the only thing I knew.
Right.
Everything else was just kind of gathered over time.
Yeah.
Right.
Stories that I picked up here and there over time. And a lot of them did actually start to mesh with experiences we were having and whatnot. That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I kind of miss those days of just being a team member where you don't get to hear the story like that when you first go in, and then, other than, hey, you can't wait to, you shouldn't, like when Claire would tell us, she'd be like, oh man, you're gonna love this place, it's so cool, blah, blah, blah. I'm
I
like,
know.
okay, cool, let's go. Whenever you say it, let's go. And then we show up and then just have it, you're raw and
Yeah.
uninhibited, but
Maybe we send Dan and Jake in. Let them hear all the story.
no, it's not that. 'Cause, I like hearing.
I do,
I don't
I
mind
do.
hearing the day of going in there and they tell us the claims. This is what we had experienced. Then we can try to go back and maybe duplicate it or see why they're having that experience. But as far as, I don't do any research on the places we go to before. Heck, the place we're going to next weekend, I thought was abandoned. And Jason told me the other day, no, they still use it. Blah blah blah. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
well, shit.
Yeah.
See, I had this whole notion in my head, and it doesn't matter one way or the other, but still.
If it's a I don't know if it's used as a theater or what all they're doing in there. I
Right.
don't think it's
Right.
what it is. what it used to be. By
They
any
still have
means.
concerts, I know. Small,
Is that what it is?
See,
small venue
So,
concerts.
so
Okay.
they're still getting a lot of people that come in and out of there.
Yeah.
They're still having a lot of energy that's coming
Sure.
from the shows and stuff, kind of like out in Dodge. I love the fact the last time we were there, the show was ending.
Right.
Right.
And we had, snuck around, setting up everything real quietly and everything as the play's going, and I caught myself a few times standing over in the catwalk area just watching the show myself.
Yeah.
Because they do such a phenomenal job with the set
production.
and the state,
Yeah.
the production of it. But instead of doing my job, I was watching. but but soon as it was over, all that energy was like
So
still
heavy that
there.
day. It was
in the
crazy
air,
in
which is
energy that
great.
night, yeah.
We had some phenomenal experiences during that time. 'Cause,
Yeah.
Man, it was like every night it got stronger and stronger, and what we ended up with was forever be fascinating for me and Jason and I. Like the entity we saw and I saw in there that I thought was Jason, that wasn't him. the K2 experiences, the on command to certain questions, and just the responses we were getting through Spirit Box and REM Pod.
And the fact that it wasn't even us holding the equipment, it was
Yeah.
the guest that was holding it. And
Right.
they were having that interaction. And we're
Right.
just, occasionally you'd ask a question and, and I was just filming.
Yeah. I just do that to stir, or not stir, but move things along. Sometimes that's one thing I always say, because usually I'll start it off, get people warmed up a little bit because you got some shy people in the group or whatever. But I'll just start asking questions, and about the third or fourth question, I'm like, you guys can ask questions too. Don't think it has to be just one of us. And deaf ears fall. It's just silence. And it's just like, okay, well, we can't sit here all night and
Right.
quiet. We'll fall asleep. So I'll keep going, and then people will start one by one jumping in, and that's how it gets things stirred
Well,
up.
because you feel kind of stupid just talking to a blank room.
Right,
You know?
right.
Yeah.
I tell people that all the time. I used to feel really stupid just talking to the darkness.
Yeah.
But now it's like, well, I have to.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I break the ice that way. I'm like, as long as you don't mind talking to nobody there, and in theory, just have at it, have fun.
And then this piece of equipment right here that I got, the whole factor of it is to talk out loud in complete silence and see what you capture on that.
Right.
Yeah.
So, it forces me to do what I don't want to do, which is talk out loud. So,
Good thing you have a podcast. What?
no, it's better like this. But when you got a whole room full of guests or something like that, it's like, oh man, I hate it when it's like a completely silent group that you get, and no matter what you do all night, no one says a freaking thing.
Yeah, yeah.
I finally just had to look at everybody and just like, you're the quietest group I've ever had in my life. You guys can talk.
Wake up!
But they just continue to sit there. I'm like, you guys know you paid for this, right? Okay, it's your night, So.
Well, and a good portion of it is just sitting there and listening, and
Yeah.
but you still got to ask the appropriate questions, or
You gotta trigger it. I mean,
Right.
but then again, with questions, are we pushing the direction of what answers we're getting? Like,
Right.
because
Maybe.
it's hard to say what who is there, what is there. Is it just answering because it's it's kind of like the Ouija board effect, when you got a whole group of people, or even those seances. You got a table full of people. I saw a black and white photograph of from way back in the day when they're all holding hands and they're doing the seance. It's all power and suggestion, and plus a lot of that was trickery and
Right.
fake.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
keep your eyes closed, and all of a sudden the table's shaking, and then that's got a pedal down below that's shaking. But not saying that that's how it always is, but
Right.
but
No, back then it probably was more times than not. I mean, even nowadays. So when you get into stuff that dramatic, I mean,
well, Harry Houdini tried to
Do the
disprove
same,
all that. He was like a very non-believer of mediums and everybody trying to do, so he'd go and sit through them and he'd pick it apart
Yeah.
like crazy and would call them out on all their trickery and
Yeah.
fake stuff. He was pretty clever, actually.
And that was my big take on things, and especially with mediums and stuff. Especially when you do like room readings, and you're like, and I'm not saying anything. This is for Lena. I'm not saying that what she does is not authentic or anything like that. But if you see like what's the TV one, the medium of New England or New York, wherever that lady is, or one of those shows.
I
Regardless,
don't know.
Long
I don't
Island
follow
Media.
Long Island
any
Media,
of
there
that.
you go. I knew it was
Yeah.
somewhere like that. But I'm not saying what she does isn't fake, or isn't fake, should I say? But I can go into a room of people and say, okay, I'm getting a mic here. Does anybody know a mic? And then you can tell by your face expressions, you're like, I know a mic. Well, so I'm gonna pick out you, and you. Okay, is it an uncle maybe Mike, or is it a friend named Mike? And I have a friend named Mike. It's like, okay, now it's just you. So I'm not saying that's how it always is, but it's easy to do in a room.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I'm sensing that someone here has either recently or not so recently lost someone with
Right.
the letter that starts with a name that starts with any letter in the alphabet.
Right. Or
But-
somebody's had a life-changing experience recently. It's like,
Yeah, in
I got a new
a
job. I got a
room full of 35 people or 50
Yeah.
people or
You're right.
You know, someone's gonna fit the bill somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, so it's
And I was going to say, going back to when I first, one of the first ones I saw Lena do, she did an Eldridge, and it was kind of starting to come across that way. And not by Lena, but just the stuff she was hitting on. She even disclosed, she's like, you know what? I may not get direct responses from everybody. I get a lot of things come through here.
Right.
But then she started asking a couple of things, and then it finally hit on somebody.
Yeah.
And you could tell she was saying things that only, unless the two worked together, which I know they didn't, that she was saying certain phrases or, you know, certain experiences that they had, and they were, the lady's like, yeah, that's my grandma, here's something you're talking about, and then we used to do that, and, you know.
There's a lot of
Right.
them pretty spot on in Eldridge.
Yeah.
I mean, I like that.
It
That
took a
was
little
nice.
bit, because that room
Yeah.
was pretty dry at first. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh shit. And I was like,
Yeah.
this is.
Well, there's just,
Lena really dislikes gallery readings.
I know
Just for
I
that
kinda-
reason.
It's
She
tough.
she
I got
hates
that
doing
feeling.
them.
Yeah.
But
that-
she does them on rare occasions.
Sure.
Just to benefit an event or whatever.
Right,
but
right.
she does not, just for
Yeah.
that reason.
'cause you
you
never
know,
know.
because
Yep.
you never know what's going to come across or not going to come across. You know,
That's
from
why
her
I-
standpoint.
Yeah, that's why I don't really want her to have to do it if she doesn't want
Right.
to.
Right.
We give that option to her. But I know it happened in Wilson. It started to happen a little bit like that in Wilson. Not this last time, but a couple of times ago, where she was there and I happened to be walking to the room. She goes, "Oh, there, it's you." I'm like, "What's me?" She goes, "Looking for a guy with a beard." I'm like, "Well, I have a beard, yes." And she's like, "Did you lose your?" At the time, I can't remember if it was grandpa. At the time, I'm like, "No, I got both my grandpas." She's like, "Huh?" It took her back from it. She's like, and then she started telling me some of the story, and she's like, or to the room of what this person's saying. I'm like, "Well, wait, hold on a second." And I went and grabbed a busboy or server, not a busboy. He was a waiter, because he had just told me a story prior to, off by myself and nobody around. He had said, "Hey, you guys do this, take it serious, right?" I'm like, "Oh, of course, you know." He's like, "I want to ask a favor of you. My grandpa just passed away recently. He's buried out at the cemetery you guys go to. Can you see if you can try to talk to him, find him, see if, you know, if so, tell him," I can't remember the kid's name. He says, you know, hi to him, loves him, miss him. I said, "Of course I will, you know." Well, then she's telling me this stuff. I'm like, "Wait a minute. This guy has a beard. Hold on." And I went and got he happened to be walking by. I said, "Hey, come here for a minute. I think she's looking for you." Well, he sat there and listened to her, what she was saying. And he was saying, whoever was talking to her, the grandpa, was saying, you know, tell him, you know, "I wish you good luck," and whatever, something. And the kids started getting all teary-eyed. He's like, "That's what my grandpa used to tell me all the time. And he said, "We'll go fishing again soon, you know." And he goes, "That's what we used to do all the time." It's just, but she initially thought it was me, and once again, it was like, "Hey, my grandpa's alive. Sorry, you know." I wasn't like, "You idiot." It was nothing like that.
Right,
It was,
right.
I was like, "Sorry, that's not me." And then she told me a little bit more of the story, and I'm like, "Whoa, I think I know who you're looking for, though. He's here. Give me a second. I'll be right back." And sure as shit, it was this
Wow.
kid's grandpa, and
Yeah.
it meant the world to the kid, you know. And it was magical to see. I mean,
Yeah.
not to use that term, but I mean, it was emotional and
Yeah.
it was interesting. But that was the same time that she said that she had Larry looking
Yeah.
for us and
Yeah.
looking for me again with Leo the lion, looking for a lion. My name's Leo, lion, big beard, you know, kind of a thing. And I always had a suspicion that he was with us there at times, and sure as shit, that was one of the last times we investigated was with him there.
Yeah, I hope he shows up all the time. you
I
know?
think he's with us more
Yeah.
often than we allude to. I just don't want to go out and disrespect anybody's, you know, their past, whatever. Or, you know, what I'm trying to say there. I don't go, "Hey, Larry," you know, try to talk to him on, you know,
Yeah.
in a location, every location.
Right.
Because, you know,
Right.
we all know the story behind Larry, and it touched all of us, you know, and I hate to, you know, don't want to tarnish that legacy. So
Yeah, yeah.
I'm respectful of him and, you know, of course, Cheryl. 'Cause
Yeah.
they're great people, so. But, yeah, it's interesting that. Sorry, I seen something.
Are you ready to leave or something? Like-
No, maybe, yes. No. But, how do we get to that rabbit hole?
I don't know.
Holy shit.
But yeah, that was. But it just takes me back to when he was there and
Yeah.
and watching him.
Yeah.
He had so many great ideas of like how to
Yeah.
interact
Yeah.
and stuff like that, and
Well, hell, he was supposed to go on our Tahlequah trip.
yeah,
And he's like, "I'm going to sit this one out. I'm not feeling that good." And
Yeah.
then he went in the hospital that Sunday. And
Yeah.
that was the end.
Mm.
So I'm glad in hindsight, I'm glad he wasn't with us because it would happen down there.
Yeah.
And, you know, and that's a long way to be away from where you need to be. And Not that I didn't want him there. It's just, you know, it'd have been a tough order for him and his family. But
Yeah, I mean, he knew
Yeah.
knew better being a
Yeah.
paramedic for 20 plus years. So it
Right.
was, and plus his wife Cheryl's a paramedic too, and
Yep.
and stuff. So you know he knew what
Right.
he was capable of, but it killed him inside that he could not go.
Yeah.
Because we talked about Tahlequah so much that he was looking forward to the chance of going out for 3
Right.
full days of,
Yeah.
Yeah.
of doing that and being there. And I wish he had that last chance, but you know,
Right.
but
Well,
Yeah.
he's still with us. I
yeah,
know
he is.
So,
He is.
along with a lot of other people. So
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So.
But no, it's fun. And this is why we do it, because it kind of goes back to what we talked earlier. You know, do we ever feel like there's stuff with us? Yeah, sometimes it's good and bad. I mean, having Larry there, people like that is with us as we'll call them spirit guides or whatever you want to call them. You know, that's phenomenal to have that somebody out looking for our well-being and things of that nature. But then we get the ones that maybe are not so nice, that we don't want, that have a lasting effect or could, you know, possibly have an effect. But we take precaution for the most part. I mean, I know I do my own little personal thing every location. I've done it from day one, and I'll continue to do it. Does it work? Maybe, but it makes me feel better about myself when I leave a location. I know I can go and sleep at night. I don't have to worry about anything. So
Yeah.
it's that power of suggestion.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's a real thing. You know, it's about your confidence doing something. It's not, whether you're doing this or any kind of job. It's talking yourself up and making sure you're going to be okay from start to finish from what
Sure.
you're doing. So,
And we know the limitations. We're not going to go if it's reported to be demonic haunting. We would never go in there and like kick the door down, start cursing things out and whatever, because we don't have a TV show. Nobody's gonna pay us to go home at night and like I can sleep with my millions of my dollars that I have like Zach has, but so we know we would never push limits. We would be respectful, and
yeah.
we've come across some interesting cases like that are just wild that I never thought I knew one day we would cross, but the fact that we have, it's just like holy shit. That's some wild shit, man.
No, I think it's fun. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think I was ever scared at some of those locations. It was just the fascination of it, and I
Yeah.
wanted
Right.
to see where it led.
Right.
I wanted to see it to the end
Yeah.
and all that stuff. But in some cases, we never got the chance to see it to the end, and we're just left with that. Well, crap.
Right. Okay.
How's that story going to end? And now we know that whatever we think is there could still be there, and we can't go help or solve it.
Right.
Let me ask you this: do you
Nope.
think it's okay? I'll ask you this: do you think whatever's there, if it is what it says it is, or whatever, it's a darker situation? Do you think that's what's keeping us away? Maybe.
Maybe it's changed the circumstances of us being able to go.
I'm just
Maybe.
throwing that out there. I'm not saying
I mean-
one way or another. I'm just curious.
Well, I mean, on one specific case, every chance we've tried to communicate to go back, something happens and something like just detours us to something else where either he's not available or he disappeared or something like that, or
Right.
and then we're sitting around and then he comes back but we're not available.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it could be a coincidence of just bad luck of timing, but
Yeah.
I mean, it was so easy just to go and do it, but once we went there and we figured out, okay, this isn't really necessarily good,
Right.
Yeah.
and since then we haven't been able to go back, and we don't know how to end it. But I feel the same way about a location way up north.
Yeah.
We got the one night in
Right.
and haven't heard from the family since.
Yeah.
I mean, she was contacting me for a few days afterwards,
Yep. And it just stopped
And
out of
then
the blue,
gone.
like nothing, and Strange.
and the family was dealing with a lot of anger inside their house and hatred toward each other and arguing.
a lot of
And,
negativity.
Yeah,
Not
negativity.
negative, but negativity. Yeah.
yeah, but the moment they leave their house, they felt calmer and better. The longer they were away from home, they felt better.
Yeah.
So
And the odd thing, it's blocks away from where we investigate continuously. I mean, literally blocks, like 2 blocks over from where we go. So it's like we know where it's at, but we're not going to go knock on the door and press, the envelope to say, "Hey,
I'm almost tempted to do so.
okay, maybe
just,
we will."
just as a
We
courtesy
need
to
closure.
be like,
Yeah.
are you doing all right? Because you haven't returned any messages
Right.
that I've tried.
Just want to check in.
yeah.
What was odd was they even gave us another person they wanted to have investigate.
Yeah.
And the guy called me, and I called him back and played phone tag, and then that just quit too. It's like, what is going on? And it might just be all coincidental.
It could
but-
be just the fact they decided not to push it.
It could be too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause, I mean, that was a crazy case, just for the fact of the end result.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of times when we have cases where they want us to come out, we're getting ready to do it, and then all of a sudden, family members go to that person and be like, "No, do not let them in your house."
Right.
And and the three of us had that case too, where it took all day for them to finally decide to let us go in for a little emergency investigation here in town, and it was a couple days of them arguing back and forth with each other about to let us in, not let us in. Let's go
Right.
get a priest. Let's do this. Let's have the place blessed, even though they have no idea what's there.
It all goes down to, once again, being educated. We
Right.
not that we go in there and try to teach them a little bit about what's happening, how to handle it. Because everything, if you're not used to this and things starts happening you can't control out of nowhere, especially in your home, it's like immediately the worst is like, it's demonic. It's got to be just because I got pushed once, or I heard a growl,
It
or
threw my TV, so it has
Yeah.
to be the devil. It has
Right,
to be,
right.
maybe it's just a pissed off old man. It's like, man, get out of my house. You guys
Right.
are loud. You party
You're
too
my
much.
chair,
I
man.
hate you guys.
Yeah.
You listen to that crappy music, whatever.
I don't like what you're doing.
Yeah,
as
right.
you're
Yeah, maybe it's just, it is what it is. I mean, if you were grumpy in life, maybe be grumpy in the afterlife.
and if it's just a grumpy person, holy water and all that's not going to do anything.
No. No.
No, it's just, that's why we go in there, and it's funny how people change. I've been in a location here, somewhat in town, where the wife and children were seeing something, having an experience. The father was like, I don't know. I'll believe what you say 'cause I support you, I love you, but I don't know. Until that night, he went there with us and investigated. The father was with us, and he's like, I heard that. Oh, I seen that. Oh, man, just an experience. And he's like, man, and ever since then, he's like, I believe everything you guys said. Not that he believed us, but it's just because he witnessed it firsthand.
Right.
We weren't doing any kind of parlor tricks. This is your home. We're just doing what we do. And
Right.
you got to witness and experience. And he's like, holy crap. That opened my eyes a lot. I believe what you guys, what you guys stand for, basically. And it's like, wow, yeah, it is what it is. I mean, and I think I think it strengthened their family relationship, because he's like, now I can really believe what you guys are
Right.
saying.
Yeah.
Because I saw it.
Yeah, if you don't second guess, I mean, that's the thing. You have to believe. I mean, sometimes it takes somebody to see it. I mean,
Right.
but
It's funny how many of those
Second
cases the
guess your
father,
kids.
the dad's always the one who doesn't believe, the non-believer most of the time. I don't know if it's because it's a whole macho
it's a macho thing.
or
I don't want to show myself.
I can't
weak.
show weakness for my kids
Yeah,
or my
yeah.
family, because with how they can look at me. And it's just like, well, you just got to be you, man. And if it's
Yeah.
happening and you can't.
And there's also,
supportive.
the whole stigma of, I'm the man of the house, so I need to be the protector. But how do I protect against something like this? So I'm just gonna say it doesn't exist.
That's
know,
Yeah.
that whole subconscious train of thought almost. It just, and I get that,
Out
but
of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
You just blow it off.
Well,
I-
go ahead. Sorry.
No, and that also goes, the fact that everybody goes about their day all day long, and everyone always asks me, well, is it just at night when it happens? And
Yes.
I'm like, no, it happens all day long. It probably is happening right now in front of us, but we're talking and we're interacting with each other, and it's daylight. We're just not focused on it.
Right.
We're not dealing with it,
Yeah.
You could walk right by something, and or just having the bathroom door just kind of maybe open a little bit more. You just kind of turn around and you notice that it's moving or something like that. You just blow it off because you're busy getting dressed, ready, and everything like that. What if something bumped the door
Right.
or was trying to get your attention. But you're just so busy going about your life and getting ready for work, going wherever you got to do.
Yep.
It's happening all over the place.
Right.
Right. And then also too, just kind of a bow on top of everything, going back to the father thing or the family. It's also kind of a, how can I go out into the world and tell people I'm having this stuff happen in my house that I can't
Right.
explain and not sound crazy? You know, it's just like
Well, we're all
they're,
crazy.
well, I mean, we can, but how can they? You know, there's sometimes it's kind of a pride thing, or you know, they feel like people will just discredit them or whatever. But it's like you just got to, like I said, do whatever you can to protect you and yourself. And
Power of mind.
yeah, I see a theme.
It's a thing, but it really is true. I mean, we don't ever really talk about it, but it's
Right.
I mean,
Well, one thing I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
But
Go ahead.
one thing we were, what got you and I talking earlier about it is we had a case out in Leavenworth where the flashlight kept coming on, which the flashlight I'm always real iffy on, just because. Okay, 2 taps behind us. It's easy to. I mean, can it be faked? I don't know. Can it be controlled? Who knows? But
It's too. I don't know. Like Roth talked to an engineer, electrical engineer, who
Right.
said, you do that with the flashlight. It has to have a connection at all times to even work.
right.
So something has to be pushing that together for it to flash on and stay on.
Right.
And it's coming on for yes and no questions. It comes on for yes, and it stays on until you guys tell it to go off.
And it goes
Right.
off, right.
And then it goes off, and then if it's a no, it just doesn't move. So therefore, I'm just
My question is:
I don't know.
is it possibly the two sides arcing maybe where they're getting a connecting?
they can't.
Well, that's what he said. That was the question.
Yeah, that's
had I
he-
not talked to that guy.
Yeah, had you not taught,
Right.
yeah, had we not done that,
Yep.
batteries can't do it. They have to have the complete connection all the way
Right.
through for it to work.
Right.
But-
But it's when you're talking DC current, you're going to have a whole lot more amperage than
Right.
you're going to get out of 6 AAA batteries or 2 D cells or whatever size the flashlight is
Sure.
using. You're going to have a whole lot more amperage
Right.
to cause any kind of even get the remote possibility of an arc going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's static electricity. When you rub your feet on the carpet and you can walk up and touch something metal and you can see that little arc.
Yeah.
I mean, there's times you're talking thousands of volts
Right.
in that one little arc.
Right.
Not 3 volts that you're going to get out of.
Yeah. Those standard. batteries.
And 3 volts and what? Maybe 6, 7, 8, 9 amps, something like that, out of the few little batteries.
Right. Well, and I've seen it work on a couple of cases where turning it on is one thing. Okay, but if it stays on, we have to go turn it off. It's like okay, man. But this case we're talking about, the thing was going on and off on command. 2 questions, certain questions, and yes, we witnessed it in the room. There was probably about a dozen of us in this room, underground room, but we usually go live on Facebook pages, and that night I hit the wrong Facebook page and went to my own personal one. So the viewership just shot to the roof. I'm like, what is going on? Not that I have a lot of friends, but it's the fact that it was a brand new audience.
Right.
And people, I saw on there, I'm like, people kept jumping on, like, why is this person on? That's cool. Hey, what's up? That's cool. You're on, blah, 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 and they got to see it all. And I kept making a point to every so often, or even one of us would say, hey, can you shine a different light on their flashlight from one of us in the room? That way they can see where this flashlight is located, looking on a big mound of dirt.
Mm-hmm.
It's none of us going up there touching it, controlling it, and none of that stuff. It's what you see is what you get, kind of
Right.
a thing. And what brought us up to this conversation of the power of suggestion was I've been kind of tinkering with this idea for years about, can ghosts hear our thoughts? Can they know what we're going to say before we say it? Because I've seen a couple locations where all of a sudden I'm like, I want this thing to come tap before I say it, or I'll sit there going, my next line of question is going to be make a loud bang because I want you to answer me that way, and then it'll bang before I even got a chance to get the question out or whatever.
Right.
Coincidence? Probably, possibly, maybe not. Well, in this case with the flashlight, and Jason wanted me to bring the video tonight. I didn't get a chance to get it together, but we were filming this occurrence going on, and I was getting ready to ask a question, and without even missing a beat, I was getting ready to say something, and the thing came on to my question. I go, wait, I'm not ready for you yet, kind of a thing. And Jason caught that and was wondering, well, maybe he's reading what you're going to say before you say it, because it was the answer I wanted. I was saying, it's going to be a yes, turn it on, and sure as shit, it came on before I had to, even a word out. So, and it's happened a couple times like that, where before I got a question out, I would get an answer, or in different locations too. But Jason was wondering, kind of a power of suggestion, or
I don't know.
How were you gonna phrase it?
It was reading your mind to the. I mean,
Or is Leo just telekinetic?
could be. He really could
Wait,
be.
watch I move this. See that?
The whole time, this whole time for the last how many years, it's been him the whole time.
Damn it, Leo.
See, and
Why aren't we on TV by now?
I'm trying, man. I'm trying. No, I'm kidding. But no, kind of. No, but it raises that question. Can they read our thoughts? I mean, what do you guys think? Can they? Is it possible, or
Well, I mean,
have you never thought about it before until now? Or- I know I've thinking.
I've thought about it. I mean, over the years, but I didn't really put any faith into the idea of it until talking to you about it.
Yeah. Power persuasion.
I know.
I convinced
I know.
you.
But
It's true.
I do think that there's a chance that they actually could possibly have that. I mean, is there a possibility they can actually like come into your dreams? Maybe.
I
That's
see. Do you,
succubus.
I mean-
do you always audibly talk to your spirit guide? No, I think thoughts to them.
Right.
It.
Yeah, I'm constantly asking for $1 million, but it
Right,
still hasn't
right,
happened. But no, I really do think that it's a possibility. We've gone to the shop a few times,
Mm-hmm.
and just to try things, and I mean, you even had that concept. I don't know if you want me to talk about it or anything.
You can. It's not mine.
No,
it's
right.
something
Well, I just you
I just
introduced
made it,
that.
I just did it one day out of the blue at a location by myself, and then
Right.
I thought it worked. But go ahead and tell your story.
Well, just the idea of sitting down, being, just close your mind off, close your eyes. And he's got a pad of paper and a pen, and he's just trying to allow whatever to like kind of communicate and just move the hand and see if anything comes out.
Right.
And it seemed like it kind of was, but I don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Right.
It's called. It's called scribing. Now the reason I knew that because in I've been doing this. When I did that how many years ago, I can't remember when I did the first thing I told you guys about.
Uh-huh.
The shop happened this last year, middle of last year probably, or maybe towards the end of last year we did it. I don't know, because Rose brought the idea. Let's try something different. We never done anything that we can get some answers. I'm like, well, let's try this. I've done it once before, or twice before, and I don't know. I got what I wanted out of it, but was it me controlling the pen? Now, when I use the pen, I don't sit there and grip it and go, okay, write the name. I try to keep it, this is my hand, the pen's in here so it can move around, kind of thing. I just sit there and hold it, and then it kind of use my energy, use my arm, give me a message through it. And I've seen it in other things before too. Hell, even I think Ghost Adventures did it a couple months ago too. But this is way after we had did it. I'm not saying they got our idea. I got their idea. Nothing like that. I mean, it's not a brand new idea. Trust me, people have done it.
Yeah,
before.
it's one of our viewers actually beat me to it. It's a concept called automatic writing.
Yeah,
And it's been around for a long time.
exactly. I think it's describing it.
It got really popular for a while during the spiritualist movement that we were talking about earlier. When we had the frauds doing seances and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But,
exactly.
some of the more names are escaping me right now, but some of the more authentic spiritualists used it quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, and I asked these guys, I did it, and I was like, just so you know, it's not me doing it, or, you know, maybe it is me doing it. I want you guys to try it, too, if you want to.
Yeah.
And they both tried it, Ruth and Jason, and they had some stuff come through a little bit, possibly. I mean, once again, it kind of goes back in my thinking is it a Ouija board, the planchette? You know, is it you and I moving it, and one of us are thinking about Gary, our dead uncle, and Gary comes across. Well, it's because I'm maybe willing it to do it, maybe not, maybe it really is. Same thing with the scrying.
I kind of had an idea what if we tried to do the Gainesville effect.
Gainesville?
Ga-
Gainesville experiment.
There you go.
Yeah.
That one. But do that, but try to do the
With
you
the
know,
pen at the same
with
time.
a pen and paper, just laid on your in
Yeah.
your lap or on your
Yeah.
leg, and just see, you know, with everything else
Or
going
and a Ouija
on.
board too. Oh no, I'm serious.
Yeah, yeah,
Spirit box.
yeah. Hey,
Try different angles. I mean, it's possible.
you'd have to have a camera right on the Ouija board
Yeah,
to see, you know,
course.
what's being filmed and
Of course.
everything. But because if you're got your eyes closed, you know, you can't hit the letters. You're going to be completely blinded, so you wouldn't be able to do it.
Right.
Not saying that I do the Ouija board, but you know, you guys can. But no, or Bob's board, whatever that is.
Right.
Bob's board.
We'd try Bob's board.
Bob's board.
We're gonna do it all.
But no, I really think, you know, trying to do the pen and paper, doing that experiment, you know, all together, you know, maybe even at the shop, you
Yeah.
know, stick somebody way far back there, even maybe back by the, you know, the
Forklift.
forklift or something
Yeah.
like that, you know, and just trying it out. Could it really be a freaky experiment? Yeah, sure, but
Yeah.
What's interesting to me also too is, and Ghost Adventures uses this, and I hate that they use it because now that they've lost, and some people are still, oh my god, this is the scariest shit ever. It's entertainment. It is what it is. Some of it's real, some of it's probably not, unfortunately. But they do use a medium, a husband and wife team on their show where they do exactly kind of that, where the guy is a medium, psychic, by name, I mean. And he goes around and picks up on some stuff that maybe either is or isn't told to him. I don't know. But it's the whole concept I'm getting after. And then his wife is in a totally different room away from him, and she's just drawing shit that's coming to him, and they kind of it always syncs up.
huh? Okay.
Pictures and shit. I mean, shit that really shouldn't happen. Now, do I have earpiece in my ear and I'm saying, okay, I'm
Yeah.
seeing Dave Smith. Okay, let's picture Dave Smith over.
We have no
Yeah.
idea who could be communicating with her
Is it scripted?
on the
Who the hell knows?
you know,
Right.
behind the camera,
Right.
you know.
Because they did a murder house, and the guy all of a sudden goes, he's going around saying this. Okay, I'm seeing a man here. I'm seeing this. Blah blah blah. Next thing you know, he goes, "Well, I don't remember this and that." And Zach even goes, "What do you mean you?" And the guy's like, "Oh, because like it came through him like possibly this thing, spirit." And he goes, "Basically, I thought there was a wall here." And Zach and them make a point to say, "Well, they cut to a different scene." He's like, "That blew me away because the police had told only us earlier that there used to be a wall in this kitchen area that was tore down, and now they went back and looked at the floor. Then there's no marks of the existing wall or nothing like that." And so if this guy really is doing it, and the wife's really doing all this stuff too, it's phenomenal. But I don't know if it's true or not because it's once again it's TV and it's the source of it's kind of But it's a cool concept if it is. I mean, because.
Right.
And they've done it. They've used them 2 or 3 times. I don't think they brought them in on the Halloween episode. They used them in Hollywood at one of the theaters. They used them at This Is a Murder House. They did it, but I've seen them. They use different people. Now, some of the people they use, I know them by name, not know them personally, but know of them, so I know they're a little bit more credible, as much as they can be. What the hell was that? But so this whole concept, the same thing, kind of like scrying thing. But Annie said. The one that talked about Ouija, she said Ouija is scrying too, and also she said it's the same thing, like using a mirror, crystal ball, or
Right.
water witching. Which remember the house with the basement, the same house you were talking about earlier with all the mirrors. I kept saying,
Yeah.
is that? And I told you too. Is that how they get around? Because every mirror has it in the corner, or every corner has a mirror.
Well,
So is it
very
possible
tall,
this-
skinny, big mirror.
Is it possible these things to jump from room to room this way? Because this is
No.
they tell-
Reflective surfaces always have a mystical property about them.
Mm-hmm.
And most people who have a more limited knowledge on it, I mean, that's when they hear the word scrying, that's what they think of is
Right.
a divination from a reflective surface. But I mean, like Ann pointed out here, there's other forms of scrying
Sure.
that don't necessarily have to do with the reflective surfaces.
Right.
So, as far as spirits jumping around from room to room through mirrors, I don't know. That's
It's just something that I brought up
Yeah.
in that moment because it's like, well, I just noticed it. There's a mirror in this room. This is activity in this room. Real heavy.
Yeah.
Next room had the same mirror, not the same mirror, but a mirror. The basement had a mirror where she sees things, and it's just. And then the same room with the TV. I think the TV that was.
there were a
working
lot of mirrors in that
in
house.
that house. Now, granted, there were girls living there, so I mean, they like to get ready, but then we walked out of the room and put a REM pod in there, and the thing was going off, and just, I mean, I don't know, a couple times, actually, in both upstairs and downstairs, the REM pod was answering it, and that was one of the first times I ever used it, actually, I think.
Yeah.
Which
I think
surprised
so.
me, 'cause I'm like, what's that noise? Oh shit, it's a REM pod going on. But and the house was interesting. That was Jason was talking about with the priest and stuff.
Well, yeah.
but kind of going back to the mirror situation too. Not for this, just in theory. The whole Bloody Mary thing. It's a urban legend, whatever you want to call it. But to my knowledge, if you continually do it, kind of like the light as a feather, whatever that shit is called, stiff as a board.
Yeah, light as a
I'm
feather,
trying to
stiff
think
as a
of what it was
board.
in my head. Supposedly that shit will work if you continue to do so. I guess like the Bloody Mary thing, you will eventually. There's a theory behind it. You will see something, but I don't remember how the whole thing works. If it's mind, or if it's the mirror, the imagery in the mirror starts to change a little bit. Supposedly,
Right.
so that is an urban legend, but supposedly it does work.
Huh.
But, or is it just in your head? You're saying it so many times that
Well,
you
and
eventually
it's
start to
not
just think you're seeing it.
What the shit?
I'm just saying.
No.
Leo's having a moment.
It got like freezing cold right here for a minute. I'm gonna grab my hand. But
I'm
no,
not grabbing his hand.
yeah, grab something else. But anyways, I lost my train of thought. This guy. No, but damn it, Jason, now what the fuck are we talking about?
You're talking about the power of suggestion with the
mind
mirror
and stuff. Yeah,
'Cause,
no,
like-
and it can even go with not even using the Bloody Mary thing.
Yeah.
Just staring at a mirror for so long. I guess it's something to do with I have to do more research on it. But I've seen it done outside of that realm, not even necessarily paranormal, just in like in a talk about where they're talking about mirror and seeing what you can see.
Well,
You'll
Black
eventually start
Mirror.
to see things. They say.
You do the Black Mirror project. I mean, that's demonic, though. I mean, people
Right.
used to-
Yeah, not necessarily. That's a common conception of it, but a black mirror is not. There are a lot of people that use black mirrors just strictly for scrying.
Well, right.
So I mean,
yeah,
it's not necessarily just a demonic thing.
Yeah.
So, but
Go ahead. I'm talking to him. Sorry. I'm listening to you, but I'm talking to him. I apologize.
no, you're fine. I don't know. I've never done enough. I don't know really research into the whole Bloody Mary thing. I guess to know. That much about it, I guess. I don't know. I just beyond the childhood stories and truth or dare parties and that type of thing. So
I think most of the time it was just something to do for fun and
Yeah.
to scare yourself.
Right.
It was just scary fun. Nothing legitimate
Now-
about it.
I do know the light as a feather, stiff as a board thing. I have actually seen that work.
Yeah, but why? Is it?
I
and how?
I
That's
don't
just it.
know. That I mean,
It's bizarre when it does. I've seen it done before too. You do it as a team building project or experience this kind of a thing, and it does work. But how and why? That's
Right.
the question.
right.
I mean, that's kind of a proven thing to work. Unfortunately, not unfortunately, but But the mirror thing also too. Like I said, they say it has to do with. I don't know, your visual sensory, I don't know, something with that where you'll start to see things, and maybe it is mind things, taking over. But that's why I think the Bloody Mary thing will eventually possibly could work.
Mhm.
We talked about doing that on the WTF files, and we will. We got all these to do.
We say
Yeah.
so, but we
just
haven't done it.
we haven't really had the chance to sit down and
I know.
schedule wise get together and do this, because it's kind of a hard thing to do. But
Right.
what was that?
I don't know.
That's funny. We keep hearing some
Wow.
stuff in the studio and some weird things just happening.
Well, and last episode, if y'all saw it on Facebook, you posted the video clip of the orb that was flying around Roth the entire night. Or not entire night, but that moment. But the entire night he was freezing, and he was the only one in the room that was freezing. The rest of us were like comfortable, and it felt actually warm down here for a change.
Yeah.
And he was over there with a coat on and freezing, and kept complaining about how cold he was. And then on camera while we were doing the show, there was an orb, bright light that just floated around his chest and then shot up above.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was weird, and he posted it earlier.
On the Facebook page,
On
yeah.
the Facebook
Yeah.
page.
And one thing I'll say is I'm not a big orb person. I think orbs are easy to debunk. It's dust, it's bugs, it's whatever you want to call it. I mean, but this one I saw with my own eyes. That's the problem I have with it. I looked over at Roth at that given moment and just saw it. And that's why I went back on the camera and looked in the show immediately and picked it out. And when I started showing the guys in the studio during the show, I'm like, look at this. And then I showed them afterwards, the ones that didn't get to see it. And this thing... Now, it had the movement of an insect because of the way it circled,
Yeah.
but
Right.
then again, it didn't.
Right. But you would have been able to pick an insect
Yeah.
out,
100%.
seeing
Well,
it with your naked eye.
Well, it's-
you
And
know.
it's winter.
Winter,
though.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
cold in
winter.
here. It's winter. I mean, there should be. I mean, there could be bugs in here, but that didn't have it.
Well, that was.
don't think that was
it
a bug.
It was bright. It was.
Bugs don't
It looked like
illuminate.
it was illuminate. It was a ball of light that.
I mean,
was
to
just
the naked eye,
Right.
I watched the thing do it.
Right.
I'm just
Yeah.
like, what the fuck
Right.
is going on? Because, well, behind the scenes you can't see. There's Christmas lights over here lit up, and I thought it was Christmas lights. I'm like, but then I had to look around the room to see because there was you can see behind us the black
you know,
tarps.
It went in
I
front
guess-
of his chest though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I mean, I had to look around the tarp to see with the Christmas lights. I didn't know they were even there, but it wasn't because it was white, not colored like the Christmas lights going off over here.
Yeah. What was that?
I don't know. I heard
I
that
don't
again
know,
too.
I heard
Well,
that through the headphones.
Yeah,
Even.
I heard it right here in the studio. Which later on, not too long after we saw that orb last week, there was a little girl between Jake and Roth and I right in here talking. That I went back and listened to the audio last week. I couldn't really pick it out
Mm-hmm.
because you can hear us reacting on camera to it, but I could never really
Wow.
hear it well enough, unfortunately. But yeah, so God damn, it is freezing right here. I don't know why.
Yeah. See, it was. I was freezing earlier.
I wasn't, and then right when I was talking about the mirror and shit, something
I feel good.
got cold. Like, right
Yeah.
here.
I was freezing.
But I'm hearing-
earlier.
I'm hearing
Up until about 20,
weird voices.
25 minutes ago. I was freezing. I had goosebumps the whole time.
See, and I'm wearing long
No.
sleeves and they're winter thermal kind of shit. Where these are outdoor shit that I shouldn't be cold, but I mean it's possible. But wow, yeah. So you never know what you're gonna see on the camera right here because some of our other podcasts, previous ones, we've had voices, especially the subject matter. That's what always gets me when we talk about like
Yeah.
demonic or heavier subjects. That
Yeah.
things get a
There's
little weird in here.
there's another thing to add to the whole like the Bloody Mary thing
Sure.
and whatnot
Right.
is called a tulpa. So that's something we can throw in there and add to the mix, add to the chaos and confusion.
Right.
At some point in the future when
Yeah.
we'll bring this stuff up again. I gotta
Yep.
say though, right about now it's 9 o'clock. It's time for us
Wow.
to shut her down for the night.
We need to wrap
No.
up, yeah. Yep. No, but it's been a fun episode.
Yep.
It always is, of course, but we have fun in studio no matter what. But I want to thank you guys at home for tuning in again this week to the show. It's like I said, we do it for you guys, we do it for ourselves, and don't be afraid to call in or write in and let us know what you want to talk about or questions. We had a couple, 3 or 4 tonight that came from the chat line, so we'll definitely answer your questions as much as we can, as long as we see them. I'm kind of monitoring the chats as much as I can, and Jeremiah does too.
Mhm.
So between the two of us, we'll catch it hopefully. So
Sounds good.
Yep. But we'll be back next week, won't we? As far as I know.
Yeah, next
Yeah.
week.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
be back next week with a
Hopefully.
brand new episode again.
Hopefully, we can talk a little bit about the experience of Saturday night.
Yep.
So
Yep, definitely.
see how our new equipment and all that stuff, and see if we caught anything different, with it. So I'm kind of looking forward to that, and not, going in kind of cold about it and not knowing too much of the history. I don't know any history of it, so I'm looking forward to it and testing out the equipment. So
Me too.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
yep. And the Mexican food,
Food.
sorry, food.
Food to me.
The good food.
All right, guys. You guys ready to cut it?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
All right. Like and subscribe our page, Facebook and YouTube.
YouTube.
Share it. Get the word out. Keep us going. We're still going to go whether or not you're watching or not.
Yeah.
So,
But it helps. Jason, don't tell him that.
I know. All right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see you guys next weekend.
Same
All
time,
right.
Same from the channel.
You guys have a great evening.
All right, y'all. Take it easy.